Welcome back, citizens, and thanks for watching. We'd like to thank all of our patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for your support. If you enjoy our content, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button to help the channel grow. In today's episode, we'll be visiting the Oso system and learning about its planets, features of interest, history, and lore. And that episode starts right now. The Oso system is a medium system consisting of a main sequence dwarf F-star orbited by 6 planets, 1 space station, and 3 jump points within its 16 AU boundaries. The jump points connect the Oso system to the Kayla system through a large jump point, to the Castra system through a small jump point, and to the Pyro system through a small jump point. The most advanced primitive species ever discovered by the UEE lives in the Oso system and is a source of endless fascination for scientists. Because the native species is so advanced, the UEE has built observation station Chimera to monitor traffic in the system. Discovered in 2861 by amateur explorer Errol Navies, the system that he named after his daughter featured 6 distinct worlds orbiting a white Type F main sequence star. Oso was quickly set upon by survey teams and corporate groups seeking to lay claim to the latest worlds potentially ripe for transforming. However, within a year, interest changed dramatically. The discovery of higher life forms on Oso II forced the government to issue it a protective status under the Fair Chance Act. The declaration made the system off limits for economic development, but some of the less than scrupulous survey corporations leaked their planetary assessment findings. They attempted to make a case to the UEE Senate that Oso II could potentially be terraformed for human habitation without destroying all of the indigenous life. The question of uplifting began to circle the empire. Ultimately, a slim majority in the Senate chose to adhere to the tenets of the Fair Chance Act. They established a permanent garrison near the system's initial jump point to let the species develop without outside interference. Despite this, travel to the system to engage in black market trade opportunities remains significant. The system's first planet is a tidally locked world that features one of the most impressive day-night differences in the explored galaxy. The side locked towards the sun is an endless sea of lava, while the dark side is a stark, black iron-rich landscape too cold to have ever sustained human life, though landing with proper equipment is possible. Extensive mineral surveys of Oso I's night side was conducted before the system was placed under the Fair Chance Act, but little value was ultimately discovered. Today, the planet is best known for its impressive visual display, viewed remotely rather than for anything worth extraction. A lush biosphere with a variety of distinct regions and climates, Oso II boasts an increased gravity much higher than Earth's. The planet is most known as the home of the most developed primitive species ever encountered by the UEE. Known as the Xi'ans, this multi-limbed race actively communicates with one another using patterned flashes of color generated by head-mounted chameleon cells. Ocean communication studies are ongoing today, within the limitations of the Fair Chance Act. The species is a source of question and wonder for the researchers of the Empire, who do everything they can to obtain exemptions from the FCA so they can study them in the field. The Xi'an see them mainly as a source of food, finding their meat particularly tasty. Beyond the Oceans, the planet is also home to a great deal of lesser species, most of which have evolved to be entirely unlike anything discovered elsewhere to date. Though direct study is a violation of the Fair Chance Act, some scientists are able to receive permission from the UEE to establish off-world research platforms to study the species from a distance. These platforms are carefully supervised and are allowed to operate only for short periods of time. The third planet in the Oso system is a gas giant. Oso III began life as a rogue Jupiter that fell into rotation around the system's star. The planet is distinguished by slight green and white color variations generated by its silicate clouds. From a scientific standpoint, it's frequently cited as evidence to support the theory that gas giants can act as comet shields, which allow higher forms of life to evolve. Unmanned scientific monitoring stations are positioned at the planet's Lagrange points to track and catalog meteor impacts. Oso IV is an uninhabited coreless planet that boasts a surface rich in gems and mineral resources that were likely exposed during some sort of planetary catastrophe. These resources have become the issue for the Army, who has an ongoing issue with rogue mining operations dating back to the system's initial discovery. Oso IV has no atmosphere, and there is an ongoing argument in the scientific community whether or not an atmosphere ever existed. Observation Station Chimera is home to Oso's rotating military contingent charged with protecting the system from outside interference. While its intention is noble, the base's effectiveness has been under fire recently as allegations of negligence caused a Senate inquiry into daily operations of the base. This review revealed consistent average and below average performance reports from nearly all Army personnel assigned to the station, as well as evidence of corruption, bribery, and even extortion. Despite a regular crew rotation, Army station reports have corroborated Senate findings and have made public Chimera's internally well-known reputation of hosting burnouts and failures. While the situation says little for the Army's reputation, the Senate reports painted a myriad of opportunities for any entrepreneur willing to work outside the law, and at any time desired, it was possible to pay off local crews to avoid interception. Visit Oso II and escape the system unharmed and unscanned. The effects of this inquiry are still being felt today. The Emperor cited the findings in his decree to High Command to immediately restructure Chimera's operating policy and implement consistent checks from civilian auditors to make sure that it was operating ethically. Note that the edict against travel to Oso is actually only enforced against those approaching the inner planets. A high volume of legitimate transports and other ships transit through the system on unrelated routes, to the point that a Kovalex shipping hub was granted a special lease and has been established in the outer reaches. Orbiting far away from the warmth of the sun, ice giant Oso V is a churning mass of aroma vapor, while Oso VI is a small rocky dwarf planet. The two isolated worlds see more traffic than many of the inner worlds thanks to the distance from Oso III, making construction of various utility stations a much safer prospect. Well, that's the Oso system. Thanks for watching. More systems will be coming soon. We'll see you in the verse, and happy mining!